Welcome, everyone, to SOPHIA Unveiled, the fierce love of holy wisdom, where we're learning that holy wisdom never left this planet and is alive and well all around us, especially in our own hearts. As we embrace this truth, we become the sovereign, valiant leaders of this new time on earth. I'm your host, Kathy Forrest, founder of Celestial Forest Institute, and I am so excited to be here today with my dear friend Jane Ashley. Welcome, Jane. So
Thank you,
excited to have you.
Kathy. So happy to be here.
So, Jane is a visionary publisher, writing and creativity mentor, and space holder devoted to amplifying women's voices and catalyzing transformational storytelling. As the founder of River Rose Press, Flower of Life Press, and co-founder of Sacred Success Studio, she has midwifed hundreds of best-selling books throughout her career. She also offers one-on-one mentoring, products and courses that uplift consciousness and awaken compassion, honor the soul, and weave wholeness into our collective narrative. Before launching her publishing house, Jane worked as a transpersonal psychotherapist, art therapist, and creative director for an international publishing company. These roots, spiritual, psychological, and creative, still ground everything she does. With Jane's deep love of archetypal wisdom and Christian theology, she brings a rare blend of professionalism, intuition, and heart to every project and circle she leads. She's the publisher of the critically acclaimed bestseller, Magdalene Unveiled, Discover the Way of Love, Healing, and Holy Fire, featuring 33 contributing authors, as well as book 2 in the series, Christ Illumined, Sacred Stories to Awaken the Voice of Love. Currently, Jane is preparing to release her long-awaited book, Flowing with Grace, 7 Steps to Navigate Change in Turbulent Times, which distills decades of personal growth, spiritual insight, and lived experience into a compassionate guide for those navigating seasons of transition. Jane is the mother of 3 grown daughters and lives in North Carolina, where she enjoys walking the Haw River with her beloved husband and their rescue dog, Kona, savoring meals made from food grown by local farmers, and paddling her kayak on weekends. A devoted community weaver, she hosts sacred connection circles for women, creating safe, soul-nourishing spaces where women can remember, reclaim, rise, and be fully expressed. And of course, your topic is nothing short of amazing and exciting. It gives me chills just to say it. Holy wisdom, sacred union, and the return to the body. So you speak about holy wisdom as something, it sounds like something more than just intellectual.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say wisdom lives in the body?
Oh gosh. Okay. So this has just been such a journey of discerning how to weave and understand these different aspects of the spiritual journey. And so thank you so much for the question, Kathy, and for your beautiful introduction. When I think about holy wisdom and Sophia wisdom, my background, right, coming from the Episcopal Church, through the doctrine and the rules and the hierarchy and actually some religious trauma early in my life, that sort of set up this framework of spirituality as being patriarchal and very rigid, as I said. But when I look at now, when I feel into the divine feminine, and when I look at the mystics, like the early Christian mystics and the saints, and when I look at Christ, and when I look at Mary Magdalene, I see something that is far more embodied than that, right? This is the feminine face of God that seemed to be missing from that framework that I received as a young person.
Mhm.
And so the holy wisdom piece was completely missing early on. But over the years now, it's become not just theological, right, or intellectual. It's a lived, felt experience. Like
Yes.
my union with the divine is an experience that happens in my body, and it moves through breath. It moves through our creativity, through our intuition, through grief and suffering,
Mhm.
through love. And
Mhm.
so as I have been weaving the energies of the divine feminine and the divine masculine together over
Mhm.
the past few years, more specifically, and I look at as I feel into Christ, right, and the incarnation, I can't really see anything other than the fact that God came through the body, through a womb,
Mhm. Mhm.
incarnated as Christ, through a womb, through the blood and body of a woman, through human experience itself.
Mhm.
And so this, so this I don't think is separate from holy wisdom. The body is the temple, and the body is not separate from holiness. And holy wisdom is really learning to trust this current, this deeper current that is moving underneath our life experience in the human form.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a lot of them, but how do you understand divine feminine and divine masculine beyond gender? How does that land for you?
Yeah. Okay. So for me, it's been this journey of trusting the body, and I am in a feminine body, and trusting that God can meet me here in this body and in my humanity and in this life experience. And that it's not just about my gender.
Mhm.
It's about not about men and women per se, right? Or assigning traits or our sexual preferences. It's such a mystery. It's
Mhm.
so beyond that I feel like our human minds can't even grasp
Mhm.
really what this is, right? But it feels like it's a weave of both types of energies that bring us into wholeness, right? And it's God moving through creation. So I am a creation, right, of the divine, and inside of me are these energies. And I often like to use the river. I've written a book about the river as my teacher, right? The river is such a perfect metaphor for me to
Mhm.
look at nature as an example of what are these energies. So the river, I look at it like this. The river is the journey,
Mhm.
and God is the current underneath, moving through it.
Wow.
And the divine feminine, this is the divine feminine energy that receives and nourishes and flows and births and feels and creates, right? The creatrix. And the divine masculine is the structure, maybe the banks of the river
Mhm.
that protect, that hold, that direct us, that ground us, focus us, and give us form. And
Mhm.
so, both are needed. It's both of those currents live within all of us. And so it's not about, I mean, yes, in our society we can see how the feminine body has been
Mhm.
disdained and tossed aside and our voices suppressed and all of that. But beyond
Mhm.
what we see externally, it's like this interior experience of sacred union where both of those currents stop fighting each other inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like that's got to happen first before we can begin to see that externalized
Mhm.
in our
Exactly.
relationships.
Right. Right.
And there's
Um,
a lot of deconditioning that needs to happen for that awareness to come online and for us to begin to feel, well, what are these aspects of myself
mhm.
that I'm denying or suppressing or that are like more toxic than healthy? And
Yeah.
how can I find my way back into that union of the river, of the
Mhm.
current, let the current take me and just
Yeah.
surrender
Yeah.
to that union.
Wow. Beautiful. I love that. So you mentioned union, and we
Mhm.
hear the term sacred union thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm, as you were speaking, we think of that as the integration of the masculine and the feminine within us.
Hmm.
How does, because I know you've had deep experiences with both Christ and Magdalene,
Yeah.
how do those energies help you understand that mystery more deeply?
Yeah, I just love this because it feels like sacred union is not just about romance in the 3D, right? Coming together.
Mhm,
Although it certainly moves through relationships as an imprint that can show us what is the
mhm,
divine imprint. The divine imprint is between me and the divine, me and God. That is the sacred bridal chamber. That is the primary relationship. That
yeah.
is the union
Mhm,
of unconditional, the deepest love I could ever experience, right?
mhm. Absolutely.
And our human relationships echo this divine relationship of wholeness.
Mhm,
So when my human relationships are distorted or there's a problem, then it generally can mirror back that there's something going on inside of me that
mhm,
is not integrated, that is not in wholeness, that is being triggered or kicked up, right? And so I think of Christ and Magdalene as both as historical figures
mhm,
and as archetypal representations of this
mhm,
divine imprint, this wholeness
mhm,
that is that is our nature. And so Christ represents the divine masculine, aspects that we talked about, like clarity and presence and truth, unwavering love and devotion. And Magdalene represents the divine feminine, the embodiment, the relational
mhm.
knowing, the intuition, the receptivity and
Mhm.
devotion. And so
Right.
together, they
Mhm,
symbolize this coming together of all of the opposites, heaven and earth, spirit and body, um, the human and the eternal. So they're not separate or
mhm.
competing, but they're united. And I think that holy wisdom, that being that current in the river that carries us, I think that's what guides us back into that union, is to allow that to flow in us so that we can find our way back into that space
Yeah.
of wholeness, of coming together and heal the separation.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I've heard there's so much information around all of this floating around. And um, I've heard that some even believe that Yeshua, Jesus, was the incarnation of holy wisdom,
Mm,
only in masculine form.
yeah.
And then the relationship that ensued between him and Mary Magdalene, and then what she did after, it was almost like he paved the way for that work, that body of
Yeah.
work to go on, you know,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
And the both of
Yeah.
them seem to dance together to do that. So I love that.
Yeah, and their human relationship is an imprint of the divine union,
Mhm,
Christ's union with the Father, right?
mhm,
And the
mhm.
mother, Holy Wisdom, Sophia, his own mother, Mother
Exactly.
Mary,
Mhm.
and embracing the feminine. And I truly believe that there was equality in that circle
Yes.
in the early Christian days. Christ saw women as equals.
Mhm.
Magdalene funded his ministry, in my belief,
Exactly. Mhm,
right? That of course, the time in which God incarnated as a human was limited
mhm.
by restrictions of that time. So therefore, God came in as a male, but that doesn't mean that men are superior to women. It
No.
just means that that was that particular incarnation, and
Mhm,
that Magdalene and that relationship reflect that inner union
mhm. I love that.
and the possibility of that space of coming into
Mhm,
partnership, and even going back to the original Genesis
mhm,
story of the fall of man, right? That
mhm,
when the fall happened, when man decided to turn away from God, then that's when all the strife ensued. That's when they started fighting. They didn't get along. They were filled with
mhm,
shame and all the
mhm,
problems and murder and everything,
mhm.
you know,
Showed up.
spiraled out from that place of
Mhm.
disconnection from
Yeah.
God
Yeah. Of
and
turning.
each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So we hear in these circles sometimes, and you even reference the mystical idea of anthropos. And I love
Yeah.
your definition of that, the whole human before fragmentation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how does that idea connect to healing, to embodiment, to spirituality, to all of it? I love this question. I
Yeah, this
really
is
want
what
to.
I was talking about. It's like that place of the primordial human before the fragmentation, right? Before the fall, before the the awareness of our choice to go dark.
Exactly.
That there's a level of divine innocence that is inherent inside of all of us that has been sort of lost, and that I feel like our role on this planet is to find that again, to remember that space
Mhm.
of our goodness, of the
Mhm.
light, and to be
Mhm.
able to choose that and keep choosing it over and over and over. And there's no finish line. It's an never-ending
Right.
journey
Mhm.
on the planet that shows us an eternal
Mhm.
space. It's
Mhm.
like a mirror again of eternity. And so anthropos to me is just like this idea of um, that our suffering comes from our separation, right? Like, for instance, as a young woman, I loathed my body. I thought I was fat. I was constantly going to the gym trying to change something. Was not comfortable in my skin. I was wanting to crawl out of my skin, right? So, separation from my temple vessel, you know the mask, like the inherent separation between people, and then the separation between ourselves and the divine, however that happens, those breaks, those moments in our life that create that
Mhm.
holy wisdom is what dissolves those false separations, right? So it's not about like escaping suffering or running away from it. Now it's about really allowing it and not judging it anymore and almost embracing it like, oh, this is my full aliveness. And it's messy and it's not fun and it hurts.
Mhm.
And it's not going to go the way I want.
Yeah.
But I am fully connected to my aliveness via my body in this experience right now.
Mhm.
Right. And so that's what anthropos is to me, is it's this ability to remember that all of it is allowed,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that it's something that we remember and that comes online again. And that's that it's not gender, it's that union, that space of the primordial human who can get back to that divine innocence.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Um, in one of the Sophianic creation stories, it talks about how her dream, her magnificent dream, was anthropos, was that
Mm,
purity of humanity, that
yeah,
we could actually, even if we were thrown into the pits of hell,
yeah,
we could find our way back.
yeah.
And it just is a matter of turning back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it feels like to me, that there is a reason to turn back to the light again and again and again, that there is something whole there, there's something pure.
Yeah.
That love in that space is so pure and is so available.
Mm-hmm.
If we just have to, in my experience, just have to keep practicing coming back to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that means so much healing is required to get through and understand these waves, these emotional waves that we go through as a
Yeah.
human,
Yeah.
from depression to peak experiences and everything in between. And riding that wave, again, like being on the river, is just like letting the current take me through it and ride through it, but
Mm-hmm.
just trust it. That
Yeah.
current is actually what's running my life, not me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to get
Yeah.
out of my own way and out of my own thinking and back into the body and into the feeling sensations and connection with nature
Yeah.
to remember that wisdom is flowing in me all the
Yeah.
time.
Always. Wow. Yeah. So you recently realized how much identity, the me thing, can
Mhm.
become attached to external things.
Yeah.
How did that experience shift your relationship to eternity, attachment, and trusting God more deeply?
Oh gosh. Okay. So yeah. So the eternity thing is like a newer sort of layer that I'm swimming in right now. And
Okay.
understanding like how can I, like Teresa of Avila would say, one of the questions she would ask is, what is this to eternity? So anything that happens to me now, what is that compared to eternity?
Exactly.
Nothing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a way of detaching from these momentary fleeting experiences, even if it's a 3 year long experience. Like, it doesn't, time is not relevant here, but just about surrendering to eternity and letting go of some of the 3D attachments. And so recently, I was on a retreat in Oregon, on the rocky coast of Oregon in Yachats. It was so gorgeous. It was like crashing waves on the cliffs and whales and sea lions. And
Oh, wow.
it was just amazing. And when I got there, the airline lost my luggage.
Ugh.
And I was there for a week. And
Oh,
I had gifts in that bag. I had medication in that bag. So after 3 days of my luggage being gone, I was really anxious.
mhm,
And I had even still, I had so much abundance. The women I was with gave me clothes. I had toiletries. I had everything I needed.
mhm,
So
mhm,
finally, by day 3, I was like, forget it. It's gone forever. And I need to do some kind of a ritual to release this and really let it go. What was happening was it was triggering a whole bunch of grief
mhm,
for me around like this loss,
mhm.
not just the stuff,
Right.
but other loss
You've
too.
had other loss in your life.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, lots of loss.
Yeah.
And so I went for a walk and I visualized it just my luggage floating off into the ocean and I said goodbye,
Mhm,
and I let it go and I was like it's gone forever and it's okay. And
mhm,
then I kept thinking, hearing that scripture, like everything on earth passes, everything passes away. And what's left?
mhm,
God,
mhm.
eternity.
Yeah.
And so then I went shopping. And while I was shopping to buy more clothes, I got the notification that my luggage had been delivered.
I figured. Yeah.
Of course, like
Yeah.
right after I
Let go.
truly released it.
Right after you let go.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's kind of what I think about now is this question, what is this to eternity? And I ask myself all the time now, what is
mhm,
this? Because I spend so much time like clinging to earthly attachments, right? Identity. Who am I? What is my role? What grasping for control? Oh, only I can do this, nobody else.
mhm,
Or, you know, stuff, possessions, reputation
mhm.
and things how things are supposed to go, that all of that is what I'm talking about when I say earthly possessions. Like it's just attachment to everything but the eternal love that is there for me right now
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
always will be and is not
Yeah.
going anywhere.
Right.
And
Wow.
so that's what it feels like, that experience taught me, that not to reject my human experience, but to just like float in it,
Yeah.
whatever it's going to be, float in it, hold it more lightly, and not let it be such a big deal and let go of all of that. And that way I can tune in to the eternalness of the
Exactly.
divine and let that hold me
Right.
and know that that's what I'm actually cultivating inside of me and outside of me is that,
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
more stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So if there was something that you could say to our listeners that would sum up what you want, what do you want to leave them with? What do you want
Mm,
them to remember?
yeah. I think the word that just always comes through for me is trust.
Yeah.
Trust it. Trust holy wisdom. Trust that current. Trust the grace. Trust God.
Mhm.
Trust your purpose and belonging to life,
Yeah.
and trust the body
Mhm.
and trust the seasons that we're going through of life, death, and rebirth all the time. And and when we trust it, then we can embrace it without judgment, without separating from it. We can dissolve more of those separations and be in union with our life and with riding those emotional waves, of joy, grief, all of it.
Yeah.
And then just stop performing. It's like I don't have to perform my spirituality. I get to just live it and
Mhm.
feel it and be embodied in it and inhabit it.
Yeah. I
And
love
that's how I feel the return. I can return to truth
that.
is by trusting. And so it's letting go of control and allowing the eternal to be
Yeah.
present.
Very cool. I love
Yeah.
that. It's like it's living you and breathing you,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally
exactly.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
have a free gift for all of our listeners. Would you like to speak into that a little?
Sure. Yes, thank you. So I have a gift for you. It's over on our riverrosepress.com website,
Mhm.
and it's the Author Blueprint Workbook. And this is a workbook that's going to help you clarify your book idea, support you in like really hearing the call and honoring that call, and then taking the next steps toward writing and sharing some information about publication and how, what that flow looks like about getting your work into the world without overwhelm. So there's prompts in there and worksheets and strategies so that you can begin to really discern the essence of the medicine that wants to come through you and bring your writing out into the world.
Beautiful. Once
Yeah.
again, you just keep pushing us out there.
Yeah. And I realized too, I've got to walk my talk, so
So
it's got
you're
to start
doing it.
there. It's got to
Yeah,
start there. Otherwise, it's not embodied, and then it's performance
right, right.
rather than authentic,
So
right?
when is that book going to happen? When is it going to be available?
Well, I wrote this book a year and a half ago, and I'm completely rewriting it now because much has shifted. And
Yeah,
so I'm in the process, but I'm committed to releasing it this year.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We can't wait. Can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jane, thank you so much for all you do for the planet, for all you do for women and how you empower them, and for being with us today.
Thank you, Kathy. It's such a joy.